Hello everybody, welcome to the MXGP of Turkey. We return to Afyon Karahisar, or Afyon as we call it locally. It's round 17 of the FI Motocross World Championship. We are returning here for the 5th time. And this Afyon racetrack, we are riding at altitude. It's high speed, twisty, turny, jumpy. Ram qualifying race for MX2. And Andrea Adamo arrives here 72 points clear of the second place rider, number 72, Liam Evans, with Jago Kiets trailing him by 30 points. Langenfelder and Lucas Coenen ran out the top 5. Kiets getting a good jump there through the middle, but it's Langenfelder up the inside. And the 80 of Adamo trying to muscle his way, but it's Langenfelder who looks left. Everts behind him. Van der Most to the outside, then Adamo. Adamo, the championship leader, tips over in that tight left-hander. Made a good start, all of a sudden, having to pick himself up. Here's Everts, he's in 3rd place. Remember, he starts today 72 behind Adamo. Adamo still out of the points. He will not be picking up any points for his championship, whereas Everts will be picking up 8 points. So he'll be gaining 8 on his championship rival. Yeah, it's homing in, isn't it? That grey mist over there on the horizon has slowly been working its way towards us for the past 2 or 3 hours. And on this part of the racetrack, you'll see when we come out of this next turn how heavy this rain is starting to fall. Wow, what a change in conditions here.
So it started raining in the MX2 Ram qualifying race.
Everts does muscle his way through and into 2nd place.
You know, we had Simon Langenfeld in front. Liam Everts was slowly catching him up, but then just the rain just became heavier and heavier.
Langenfelder will hang on. He wins the Ram qualifying race here. Everts, not sure if that's frustration. I would say it is, because he was within, what, 0.3 of a second over the line. And McClellan found his way past Adamo on the final lap to take 10th. So no points for Adamo in the Ram qualifying race.
The track was changing, the track was becoming more slippery, a lot more challenging. And also it became really dark out there. So in terms of visibility, that would have been a massive challenge as well. And I think the right decision was made to cancel the MXGP Ram qualifying race and to start the racing again on the Sunday.
I just take everything for have fun. When I go on the race, it's just for having fun. I don't do it for a job. I just do like because I love it, and always I go on the bike. It's so nice because I can ride, and I do it every day. I always want to go out first and do some laps and having some fun. Play with the bike and everything.
All of their thing is just riding. They just want to ride. Whether it's on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whether it's bicycles, dirt bikes.
I don't have any pressure, just like riding and have some fun with the bike. Like even next year or the year after, it's just for fun. I do it and it's not for a job, it's just because I love it and I like to be on the bike, and every second I'm on it, I'm just so happy.
With him, it's a constant struggle of managing expectation versus like the reality of his situation. He's 16 years old, he's small, he's extremely fast, he's extremely aggressive. You know, it's your first year in MX2, you're against guys who are physically a lot further along than you are. You know, he has the speed, but it's not an easy class.
I don't like to lose. I always like want to be on top and win everything, but it's not always possible.
Dealing with the pressures of being a 16-year-old professional motorcycle athlete is a lot to handle.
The life and career of a motocross rider can be quite challenging, certainly not straightforward.
There's so many highs, there's so many lows. It's a sport where I think every rider at some point of their career is on a journey.
I would say for me, 2021 was a really eye-opener for me with missing the whole season because of my wrist injury, going through 3 surgeries just to try and get back on the bike and not even knowing if I would ever be able to get back on the bike.
There are a lot of riders on the grid in both classes who have been through quite a bit. They're the riders that really kind of find themselves asking a lot of questions of themselves, trying to go a little bit deeper to, you know, self-assess and self-analyze, if you like.
I know many of these riders have done some soul-searching in their career. And it's just about looking at their career and looking about the sport, looking about the results and these GP weekends differently.
Everything you've ever known is motocross your whole life, and when that's taken away from you and when you're faced with the reality of maybe you're never ever going to be able to do that again, you got to start accepting it first and then also appreciating that it happened, because I always believed in life that everything happens for a reason.
Once you get to that sort of pro level, it's how you deal with everything that comes with it. If you're on a factory team, dealing with the pressures from the sponsors, the fans, the expectation to go and perform every week, week in, week out.
There are challenges, there are hard times, there are many bumps along the way. You need to take a step back and have some self-reflection and look at your life as a whole, I guess.
If it didn't happen to me, then I wouldn't have found things in life outside of motocross that I enjoy, and that makes my everyday life so much easier now, because if I went through that, anything that comes at me, I can get over and I can push forward and I can see why it happened to me and be grateful for it, and that's going to make me a better person.
I think the highs will shape you as a person, but I definitely think the lows will shape you even more.
You have to really kind of start breaking down and analysing everything in every little scenario. And it can be in the form of someone like Valentin Guillod, for instance, your training partner with Yves Demaria.
Yeah, you know, when you win, you have everyone around you and you can have all what you want. You ask, they give you. Me, I knew both now. I had experience in both sides, when you are on top, but also when you are underground. My best season ever was in 2015. Yeah, we were fighting for the world title till few races. And then, it started after 2016. I stopped working with Yves Demaria, but then the struggle start, the injuries start, and from the top, I go down under the water, and I was trying to do my best to go out of my head out of the water, but it was not working.
And then there was the spiral. Yeah, there were some injuries, but there was just this mad, almost depression from him, you know, where we saw his career just kind of falling and falling and falling.
So then I had a really bad time of my career between 2018 and 19, where for me was over motocross. I didn't ride all winter and didn't want to do that, you know. I was really down, really mentally down. Then one friend said, yeah, but you want to continue racing or riding? Then I say, you know, it's like 4 months that I didn't ride and I don't know. And then he said, okay, take one bike, go ride and you will see if you like. And then I've been on the bike and I say, yeah, for sure, I like that.
I'm so in love with you, girl. You make me feel brand new.
End of 2021, I contacted again Yves Demaria and I told him, yeah, you know, it's with you that I was making my best result and I was enjoying, you know, training and all that stuff. January 2022, we start working again and rebuilding myself to arrive now to be one consistent rider in the top 10.
He's not getting any younger, yet he's in the twilight of his career and getting stronger. And to get the results that he's getting, he's had a couple of 6 overalls this year alone. In the competition that's in MXGP as well, is testament to him and you know, what he's had to go through and deal with to get back to a competitive base, if you like.
Now in MX2, which is up first on our broadcast today, Andrea Adamo arrived here with a 72-point lead over Liam Everts. When the Italian failed to collect points in the Ram qualifying race and only placing in 11th place, the gap at the top of the standings has now been cut to 63.
Then the track conditions on Sunday for race 1 in MX2 were still pretty challenging. We may have had a couple of support groups in WMX and the MX250, but then the track was rutty, it was unpredictable, it was still wet from the leftover rain and the storm.
Eyes to the inside gates here. Good jump that from Langenfelder. Van der Moosdijk also got a good jump. He squeezes Everts to the inside, but it's going to be a deep first turn. Look at the mud they've had to take off on the outside of that first turn. But it's Langenfelder with his 8th Vauxhall shot of the season. But Gifting sweeps into the lead at the earliest opportunity and leads here on the opening lap. So the 2 Red Bull KTMs then, 4th and 5th. Van der Moosdijk back on the attack though, quickly finds his way back past Adamo. Adamo looking at his pit board almost helplessly there. A little bit untidy at the end of the straight, again into turn 2, and Lucas Coenen this time punishes the Italian.
And again, Adamo struggled. I just think he was trying too hard to make things happen. And when you ride over that limit, things happen.
So Adamo down to 14th now. So Adamo going down from 7th. Here's why Adamo went down from 7th place. Right, inside line, cross ruts and over the top, just trying too hard, Adamo. It's turn 5.
Mistakes are easier to come by, crashes as well. If you crash in the mud, handlebars and grips and gloves all get kind of muddy, and then it's just a scenario you don't want to be involved in.
But it's Simon Langenfelder who is going to round out the final turn. And the German will cross the line on the Red Bull Gas to take his 6th race win of the season. Geertz crosses the line 2nd, Everts 3rd.
And he's riding very smooth and relaxed at the moment. You know, that's now putting the pressure on Adamo.
And Andrea Adamo, well, he's going to cross the line in 10th place. The gap now down to 54 points between him and Liam Everts. Leads the way. Van der Moosdijk has dropped to 3rd. So Van der Moosdijk out of 1st place to 3rd as Everts and Horkmo go through. Well, Horkmo, if he can find his way past Everts and into the lead, that'll give him his first 25-point haul of the campaign. Everts fell because Horkmo now leads. And Kevin Horkmo just 2 turns away. The F&H Kawasaki rider, he was fast in race 1. He charged his way through to 6th. Kevin Horkmo will win race number 2 here for F&H Kawasaki. His first race win of his career, and it gets him on the podium 2nd overall as well. Mark de Reuver the first to congratulate him, but Liam Everts takes the overall Grand Prix victory with a 3rd and a 2nd.
Going into race 2, he knew he needed a good result, and he managed to salvage something, but that gap now is down to 48 points with 2 rounds to go. So it was, a difficult, challenging Grand Prix for Adamo. The hangover from the storm, which forced the cancellation of the Ram MXGP qualifying race on Saturday, meant that the grid positions then were determined by the time practice. And how advantageous was that? Well, inside gates, left-hand turn, muddy race for the first one. He got a good start, stayed out of trouble.
Great reaction that from Prado, and he's quickly across the front of Gajser. Heavy first turn. Riders in that outside.
Went into the first turn, and then
he throws it away.
he just lost the front, and then when he picked it up, it didn't look like the bike wanted to fire up straight away, even though it's an electric start.
And a problem there for Prado. He cannot get that bike fired up. Wow! We were talking about how, he finally gets it going. Nervous moments for the Red Bull Gas crew.
He got himself going, got his head back in the game, but wherever he got to was irrelevant. There was an opportunity lost there and a lot of points lost.
Out of the final turn, the number 3 Roman Febvre wins race number 8 for the season. Jorge Prado crosses the line in 13th place. That gap will be 75 points heading in to race 2.
So then when he got the whole shot in race 2 and got to exactly the same corner, turn 2.
And the bike problem again for Jorge Prado.
And the bike stalled. Now, I don't know if it was heavy under braking and he stalled or whether there was an electrical fault, but so bizarre that it was the same corner straight after the start of the race that, caused him problems again.
Gajser leads the way though. Renault second, Febvre third.
We saw a completely different Tim in race 2.
If Tim Gajser stays where he is, he will win the Grand Prix. It will be a second and a first, 47 points for the Slovenian.
Fired up, whole shot, pulling away, but then he had that one big crash towards the end of the race, a few laps from the end.
And all of a sudden, Maxime Renault is right there with a shout, and Febvre will get a sniff of that as well. 3 riders now separated by 3.7 seconds.
And actually, I think that crash has done Tim Gajser more good than harm. And what I mean by that is sometimes when you've had a big injury, a big crash, it does set you back. And you are still trying to find that balance again. But I think afterwards he's probably gone back and thought, you know what, I'm okay. I'm okay, and I think we've seen a switch flicked now in Gajser, and I think the next 2 rounds we're going to find Tim very, very close back to his normal self.
Oh my God, I pick up the bike so quick, I can never
We see.
Coming into the penultimate round of Majora, firstly, it's just such a magical, historical circuit. So magical there. It's just a track that is just full of history, and it's lent itself to some spectacular races in the past. And the fans here in Majora, they, especially having, you know, Andrea here and Jorge racing for an Italian team, it's just going to be even more magical this weekend. And for a rider like Andrea, who's leading the MX2 world title with that red plate on his bike in front of the home fans, it's going to be a big weekend.
But not so simple when you think the weather could play its part as well. Coming into Majora, the penultimate round, we have the MX2 title chase still kind of finely balanced because you've got Adamo 48 points clear of Liam. Let's not forget last year, 2022, he got his first podium in Mantova, second overall, got his first Grand Prix victory, Trentino, earlier this year. He's coming into this round in Majora leading the championship, but he's not finished on the podium the last two rounds. 5th and 6th for him. Liam Everts, his closest challenger, has won the last two, been on the podium the last 3 or 4 rounds. So the emphasis and the impetus is with Liam. We had Turkey, a weekend off, and now here to reset, to get things back on track, because he can also wrap up the championship here in Italy. Jorge Prado arrives in Majora having lost what was I think it was a 92-point lead. He's now 67 clear of Romain Febvre. And after the most bizarre set of circumstances in Turkey, they don't want that to happen again.
This is going to be a big weekend for him and a big weekend for the Red Bull Gas team. Firstly, it's a home GP for the team. And secondly, for Jorge, he can wrap up that title.
But he does find himself coming here having lost a big chunk of his lead. Fortunate for him, he's more than 60 points clear, and if that gap remains the same, then Prado will be world champion in Majora. Simple.
But Turkey was a huge reminder that the championship isn't over until it's over. And as we all know, anything can happen in motocross.
A big weekend, but the weather could also play a massive part. Has gone down on the first turn with his teammate. Advantage Adamo at the moment, but riders and bodies all over the place. So Adamo up to 4th, Everts only in 18th position. He will pick up 7 points from this race. That's 7 more than Everts. He will need just 5 points more than Everts tomorrow. And Simon Langenfelder wins the MX2 Rep qualifying race here in Italy.
his way through. Crosses the line to win the MXGP Ram qualifying race. Prado hangs on for second, Febvre third, and Prado extends his lead. After two convincing qualifying races here today, could we see two world champions crowned here tomorrow?